I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And for those of you that don't know who we are, Ron and I are the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior. And what we've been able to do through our journey and our experiences is really harness that experience and put principles and definitions behind what we experienced,
so that we would be able to help people coming behind us. We were able to overcome welfare, poverty, and incarceration and come out the other side of that stronger, more determined, and successful. When we talk about being successful, we mean that we now know what it takes to make our dreams come true. We know what it takes to have a healthy family. We know what it takes to have a good reputation. And we want to help you establish your legacy as well.
So if you're looking for the answer or the antidote to the situation you're in, if you're looking for a place in life where people can take you at your word, if you're looking for that avenue, man, that path that can really set you apart from anybody else or really redefine who you are as a man, if you're looking for success, if you're looking for that recipe, well, you don't want to miss this show. You want to stay tuned right where you're at because TYRO is the answer for you.
And it's the real deal. You will hear many people tell you, oh man, that doesn't work, or oh man, you are who you are, and that's just, that's ridiculous. That's for other people. You know what? The truth is, if Ron and I can do it, if we can overcome welfare, if we can get off of the welfare system, if we can have 15 years of incarceration that caused our family to be separated, and we can still be strong and reunite and reintegrate together, then you can too.
What's really exciting is that we can be taken at our word. Because gentlemen, that's what's really important, is as a couple, as a family, we know that people look upon us now. Now, this wasn't always at the beginning, right? Because we also know what a lame is. Well, TYRO would help define your dreams. It will help put flesh to your visions. It will help put meat to the bones of your dreams. TYRO will help you find a place in your life where not only can you be taken at your word, but you can be successful and you can empower others to be successful, all those who come alongside you.
And you can take that mess that you left behind and you can turn it into a message that will actually propel you to becoming successful. So today we're really going to get deep and talk about what does it mean to do well and then go back into the same environment that you came from. And that means as you begin to practice different principles and you begin to actually look at your life and say, you know what, I want something different, you begin to do different things, but then you're released from prison and you have to go back into the same atmosphere that you came out of and face the people that you did those other things with. How do you do that? How do you do that in a way that really helps you stay focused and do the right thing even in a different circumstance?
So stay tuned. You don't want to miss a minute of the information you will be receiving today.
We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we are talking about how to maintain your new reputation even when you go back into your old neighborhood.
Well, before we get into how do you maintain it, what is it? what is it that we're talking about? What is it that we want to impart into you that you can be successful? Because here's what's really happening. Everything that you've been learning and everything that you've been practicing inside the penitentiary, you know, how to stay out of the hole, how to stay away from lames, right? How to stay out of the mix, how to stay ticket free, how to stay sucker free, all these type of things,
how
right?
to set goals and actually achieve them, how to maintain a relationship without fighting all the time, without disrespecting each other. All of those things that you're practicing in here are preparing you to be able to go back into your community and maintain those.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about discipline. We're talking about a dude named character. We're talking about honesty, integrity. We're talking about when the rubber meets the road, are you able to activate those principles? Because your first battle when you get home is those streets and peer pressure.
Yeah. You have to ask yourself, what is it that's defining who you are? Are you defined by your environment? Just because you're in prison, that's why you're doing the right thing? Or are you in control of your own destiny, your own story? When we say, you know, what is it we're talking about? We're talking about making sure that you are empowered and that you are prepared to be who you know you are, regardless of the environment that you find yourself in.
So let's talk about, really quick, doing the right thing in the wrong place. Right? Because you're in prison and you've been practicing doing the right things. But now, back to where the rubber meets the road, now you're home, you're in the streets, and you're looking for a job and all those things, and you've already made a conscious decision that you are no longer gonna do what you used to do.
You're not gonna get high anymore. You're not gonna get drunk anymore.
You're not gonna argue with your neighbors. You're not gonna you're not gonna live the Jerry Springer life anymore.
You're not gonna sleep all day waiting for night, right? You're not gonna be working for the weekend. You're gonna be literally achieving your goals because you're gonna be working every day towards them. So when we talk about what are you doing? So I wanna share with you a story of something that happened to us just recently, this last week, that I think really illustrates why it's so important when we talk about what does it mean to not get all caught up in your environment when you go back home. And so last week, well, actually, I guess a couple weeks ago, my daughter went out to the barn and she saw a mouse. Well, mice and I, we got no business even connecting. And that's the one thing I'm afraid of. So I was done going to the barn. So I told Ron, I said, you know what? You got to take care of that mouse. So Bree and I, we're done in the barn.
So being that the champion that I am, I went and did the next best thing. I went to the store and bought some mouse traps, right? And so in this case, I bought a glue strip. I never really messed with the glue strip. I usually have the mouse trap where it snaps and it'll catch the mouse.
Yeah,
right?
then you're all one and done, right?
But this, you know, they were cheaper than that. And I said, well, you know what, let me get a couple of these and I'll see if they work. Well, a day went by, nothing. Another day went by. Finally, about 4 days went by and I came out to the barn because no one else would go out to the barn no more to do the chores. So I had to go out there. And I saw this little guy, right? This little mouse, and he only has 1 foot, which was amazing that it worked like this. He had only 1 foot attached to the glue strip, and he's dragging it all over, doing everything he can in his power to try to shake it off. Can you imagine, just here you are trying to shake off life and everything around you, and you can't get free, right? So here's this mouse, just 1 foot in this trap cost him his life. So what we want to show you with this illustration is that you can't play with temptation. You can't play with these things that you know that easily set you back. Because if you put your foot in something that you know you could get caught up in, you could get so draped off, it could cost you not only your life, but it could cost the life of people around you.
Right. Your children and your legacy and your family. So when we think about what does it mean, what is it we're talking about? We're talking about practicing the same principles as you transition home as you're practicing there, no matter how hard it is. Not letting your environment dictate to you what it is you do. So this mouse, 1 little foot, you cannot afford to just stick your big toe in to the wrong environment and think you're going to be okay. You have got to make sure that you stay well clear away from every trap that you already recognize are traps when you go back in. That's what we're talking about today.
When you go back to your neighborhood, you know, you're going to be doing a lot of right things in the wrong place, but you're going back in there. But you got to really know that who you are a strong individual. No one can come up to you anymore and sell you crack cocaine. No one can come up to you and convince you that it's okay to drink and drive. No one can convince you that it's okay to sell dope. No one can convince you to do these type of things because that's not you anymore. You have redefined your existence. You have redefined the way you think. You know that To be successful, you got to work hard. You got to get up in the morning and you got to go out and do it like the right way.
And sometimes to be successful, oftentimes you got to go out of your way. That's why Ron set that trap, that glue trap, in the easiest route against the wall where the mouse was going to go. You know where those traps are, and it's easy to fall into them because they're laid in the easy places. So if you want to avoid those, when we talk about avoiding those traps, then you've got to take the long way around. And I promise you that effort and that extra exertion is going to help you and create a legacy for you where you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, what I thought was so difficult then laid the foundation for my success today.
You know, we're counting on you to do something different. We're counting on you to be great. But not only we are, your people are. Your people are expecting you when you come out of penitentiary, right, to not be the same person you were when you went in.
Yeah, I don't think that all of your people are expecting you to become better. Unfortunately, many of them, we talk about what you're going to be facing, many of your people are going to be expecting you to be the same person you were when you went back in. But they're hoping for something different. And so imagine if you get to answer somebody else's hope. You get to be that ambassador of hope that says, this is what your hope looks like realized. Imagine that feeling instead of, you know what, you've proven me right, you're never going to be better. That was just jailhouse, you were just pretending to be something you're not.
You know, TYRO is really a strong antidote. TYRO is a prescription that can really empower people. TYRO can help you understand what you need to do in order to get where you want to go the right way. But it's not going to be easy because nothing in life worth keeping and worth fighting for is easy. So you're going to face all the same challenges you faced or you gave into in the past. But now you're going to face them being conscious. You're going to see them for what they are, and you're going to see the detriment that they brought to you in the past. Because you're going to be able to take your past and allow it to catapult you into greatness because you know your past doesn't define who you are. But it will qualify you for something greater if you let it.
So in the next segment, we're going to talk more about why. Why is this so important? So now we know what it is that you have to avoid, all those traps, and what it is you need to do, and that means maintain who you are regardless of your environment. In our next segment, we'll talk to you about why that is so important.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tiarina.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And today we're talking about how to not get stuck in your old patterns.
You know what? Not get stuck in your own pattern. You know, that takes discipline. It takes a type of courage that you can endure no matter what type of peer pressure comes your way, no matter who it is that comes before you and in your face, and they may call you out your name. You got to stay true to being a TYRO. You got to stay true to the new you, because when the rubber meets the road and you're put to the test, your true nature is going to come out, whether you're a strong individual or whether you're still weak and weak-minded to where you give in to all the temptations around you.
That's so true. So we talked in the last segment about what do we mean? You know, what does it mean to be stuck? And we shared the story about the mouse getting stuck in there. And so we, in this segment, really want to share with you why this is so important, why it's so important to continue doing what you've been practicing that is getting you ahead. So the things that you're doing inside the institution, you know, the discipline that you're doing, that you're practicing, and the healthy relationships that you're practicing, and the staying sober that you're practicing, right? You're not getting draped off into using hooch or drugs when you're incarcerated. So all of those things are things now you've got to take back into the environment that may be full of traps in all the places you're used to going.
You know, staying sober doesn't mean just not drinking hooch or doing those things. Staying sober means making sure you're feeding your mind the right thing. You're taking in the right stuff. Because even practicing staying sober, that means you're not caught up in the day room watching Jerry Springer. You're not caught up in your bunk watching soap operas. That means you've down-disciplined yourself that you're not gonna practice that behavior. You're gonna practice something else. Instead of watching Jerry Springer at that time, I'm gonna read a book. Or instead of watching General Hospital at 4 o'clock count, I'm gonna write. Or you're gonna do something else that is more productive to your well-being and for those who are counting on you to change. Because when you go home and you hit the streets, those habits that you've been practicing inside there, you have to be able to take them out and implement them when you hit the streets. So if you're practicing at 4 o'clock count, right, laying on your bunk, watching General Hospital or whatever soap opera you like to watch, if that's what you're doing, guess what? Come 4 o'clock, it's gonna be hard to change that habit because you're gonna be looking for something to do because you've been normally at 4 o'clock watching TV, so now 4 o'clock come, what do I do, what do I do? Guess what? Here comes temptation. Here comes that thing that's gonna easily set you back, because you're allowing something else to dictate what you're gonna do versus you've already practiced something you've been doing at that time and you know right what to do when you get home.
So it is so important that you not get caught up when you get home and to continue that reputation, because that's exactly the word reputation. Your reputation has already preceded you. So people know you from who you used to be. So there's been a gap of time where they haven't seen you and they've carried the image of who you used to be with them during all the time you've been gone. So while you've been practicing self-improvement, while you've been learning, while you've been growing, they are still imagining you as the same person you were. Just as you've been imagining, let's say, your cousin or your child or the neighbor's kids, a friend, whoever, and you think of them as that 7 or 8-year-old child, and maybe 4 or 5 years have gone by. When you go back and you see them, you're shocked because you're still thinking of them as a little child. Well, that's how the society is thinking of you, as that convict, as that criminal, as that reject. So you have to come back into society and show them who you really are. So you cannot afford to put one little toe in that trap. Otherwise, they'll say, see, I told you, this is the same person.
You know, why this is important is because those who are watching you are gonna learn from you. Those who are watching you are gonna take in and mimic what you do, how you talk, how you walk, because when they see the real deal, when they see a man of honor, a man of good character, people are looking for that. Your people are looking for the antidote, because remember, you left an environment that is of chaos, dysfunction, right, destruction. You left that environment to wind up in a place where you can get sober, cleaned up, pumped up, motivated, inspirated, and everything that happened to you.
That word, inspirated.
You became inspirated in inspired to empower others. Right? And so now you're home, now your peers, your kids, all those people are looking at you and they see something different about you. And what they're seeing is they're seeing a glimpse of hope. And now when they see that glimpse of hope, wow, if he can do it, so can I. But they don't know how to do it, so they're watching you to see how you do it. And your influence is empowering them to do the right thing. For example, right? When we talk about.
So when you come, you are a change agent. And so you are going to change the environment in which you are in. And you are going to make that environment better. And your kids are depending upon you. So your kids are out here and everybody's telling them the bad things about you. And it may not be the mother of your children. It may not be your family that's poisoning them. It could be society in general. It could be friends at school, it could be people on the street are telling you, you know what, once a drug addict, always a drug addict, always a drug dealer, whatever it is that you're in prison for. And so you have got to overcome that reputation as you set forth your new precedent. And your kids are looking at you and they're waiting to find something in you that they can be proud of. You know, they are weighed down by shame. Why is it important? It's important because your children are looking to you to set a new legacy for them.
So Dad, listen to me. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. They are looking for a superhero, right? Hollywood is bringing them the Avengers. Hollywood is bringing the X-Men. Hollywood is bringing everything to them, what they're looking at. But Dad, I'm telling you right now, they're looking at you to see if you're a superhero. Because I'm telling you, you are a crime fighter. You are stopping poverty. You are stopping domestic violence. You are stopping the cycle of destruction that has been plaguing your family. You are a superhero, and you can walk that walk. Because when you bring the antidote, When you bring it to your family, I'm talking about bring it. When you bring it like Michael Jordan brought it, right? When you bring it like Dennis Rodman brought it. When you bring it like LeBron James is now bringing it. That's what they're counting on you, Dad, to be that superhero in their life so that they can look up to you and be proud of you, and they can learn and glean from you, that they know, you know what? My dad has stopped the cycle of entitlement mentality in our family. My dad has stopped the cycle of imprisonment in our family. My dad knows that the buck stops with him, and therefore I am so proud of him, and I want to be like my dad.
That's right. So when we think about why it's important, and we're going to keep saying it, like, okay, you already said that, because we cannot say it enough. When you begin to like walk around that trap, the first trap, then you become empowered and you're like, wow, I did it. I overcame that first trap. I went out of my way, and it took a little bit more energy, but you know what? It made me stronger. It's like climbing that mountain. Okay, I got past the first hill, and now I'm more encouraged that I can get past the next hill and the next hill. And so you've got to keep going, because you, first of all, it's going to help you reach your dreams and your goals. And next of all, it's setting that precedent that your children and everyone around you is looking and say, you know what? If he can do it, if she can do it, I can do it too.
You know, some of you might be even battling with yourself and say, man, I don't know your story and I don't know your situation. And you don't know the mountain that I'm carrying in my life. Well, listen, that mountain that you claim to be carrying wasn't meant to be carried. It was meant to be climbed. And that's what you got to do. You got to climb that mountain in your life and get on top. And then as you're getting on top, guess what? Others, you'll be able to help empower others and bring them up alongside you. And we're talking about your kids. We're talking about your family. They're counting on you because the precedent you now set, not the old nature, not the old reputation, a new reputation where people can take you at your word and they can count on you. That's what it means to be a TYRO. That's what it means to be a superhero. That's what it means to be taken at your word.
So as you get ready to transition back into the same environment you came out of, you have now been equipped to walk into there, hold your head high, and it's like, you know, when we think about Superman, it's just, you're exactly right. It's like the bullets that are being shot will just repel off of you, but only as long as you continue walking that path. Because as soon as you let kryptonite come back into your environment, now anything can take you out.
You know, it only took about one little piece of kryptonite to start to weaken Superman. Now, he might have had a little strength I could crawl away from the kryptonite, but guess what? Every time, as long as he stayed there, it was draining him of his energy, right? It was always draining. That's the job of kryptonite. So what's the kryptonite in your life? And you gotta call it out. Is it your girlfriend? What is the kryptonite? What is that thing that is triggering you to go back into that old nature? What is that thing that triggers you to live an ugly life and get rid of it?
And you have to figure out the why for you. Why is it that you want to do better? Why is it you don't want to come back to prison again? Why is it that you want to have a different legacy? Why is it? And I hope that when you think about your why, that your children play a big part in that why, because you are setting their destiny and you're setting it in stone. And stone is hard to chisel away, gentlemen.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about how. How do you take everything we've been talking about and apply it in our life? Because it's not enough to just talk about the ideas. We got to be about the ideas. And then the thing about it is we got to be able to explain, how do you get there? How do you go from point A to point B? So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about Mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we're talking about how to avoid the traps that you're going to face as you transition back home.
How to keep your toe out of the trap.
That's exactly right. We talked about what do we mean by that. We talked about why is it important when setting your legacy and for the people watching you. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how. So this is probably the most important segment of the show.
You know, we talked a little bit about triggers, you know, and this is where you got to have that courageous conversation with yourself and maybe even some of those people around you. Identify the traps in your life. Identify them and call them for what they are. Because if you try to whitewash the truth about what is really your battles are, your mind battles, or what are the things that you know that you shouldn't do, but you find yourself having a struggle with, and it's okay to have a struggle. What's not okay is not to call it for what it is.
Right. And so that way, when you identify what your traps are, you can do step number 2, and that means make a plan to avoid or overcome those traps. Now, what you don't want to do is say, okay, the plan is I'm going to go to the bar, but I'm not going to drink. The plan is I'm going to go hang out with all of my friends while they're all getting high, and I'm going to stay sober. That's not a plan. That's a plan to fail. And so when you identify what those struggles really are and you're real with yourself, then you put your plan together in a way that completely avoids that. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to take the long way around.
Because you might be telling yourself, I'm strong enough that I can just say no. I'm strong enough that I can be in a room where they're getting high and I'm not going to give in to smoking a joint or anything like that. But let me tell you this. When you set yourself up in a room or an environment of that nature, of that, you will fall back into that trap. You will eventually give in to just once. You'll convince yourself that you're strong enough to just say no. And before you know it, you are so entrenched in that what easily besets you, easily caught you back up, that you can't even get out, right? Because you got that one foot on that trap stick, on that glue stick, and you're going to do everything you can. And you might even be in denial that, you know what, it's not me, but it's too late. It's too late. So a strong individual would not even put himself in that predicament.
So number 1, identify the traps. Number 2, make a plan to avoid those traps. And number 3, connect to accountability, because nobody becomes successful by themselves.
That's right.
Everybody needs a group of people that is rooting for them to make it, to do the right thing and to overcome those obstacles. So number 3 is really, really important.
You need accountability. You can't do this by yourself. There is no such thing as a self-made man. Cathy and I, we have our mentors and our accountability partners around us to help us deal with the things we struggle with every day. You know what? If you're not struggling, if when you get up from that bed and you're not having a mind battle about something, guess what? You're still sleeping. So be real with yourself and all those around you. Just be real with you, and they can see that you're on a path to success. Now, the 4th thing we want to talk about is you got to evaluate what's going on.
And do that every day, because every day is a new opportunity for us to maybe just let a little bit of stuff in. So maybe we just tried a little bit of something, and that something might have been we didn't get high, but maybe we found ourselves in the place where we always bought drugs. We found ourselves with the person that always was selling us drugs, and we found ourselves alone, and we realized that, hey, you know what? I've taken a tiny step off. And so what is really important is evaluate. You know what? Did everything I do today make sure that I'm positioned for success? Or did I maybe take one small misstep? Was I hanging out with the wrong people too long? Did I find myself getting caught up in doing something? And when you evaluate every day, it will save you a lot of pain instead of waiting till the end of the month and figuring out, where did I go wrong? When did it first start?
You know, what's really cool about today's cars, they have these sensors inside the tires that you can hit the system database on your car, and it will tell you how much pressure you have in your tires, how much air, right, you have in your tires. And you can watch it and you can gauge it. And you can sometimes see with the weather being cold and what things happen, you can see the number go down a little bit. And you can gauge it, but there comes a time when the number gets too low where you say, you know what, I got to put air in there.
And it's before you can ever visibly see that your tire's actually flat. I've gotten in the car and been like, wow, I lost 10 pounds of pressure. I got out and it's like, wow, I can barely tell visually that there's an issue. But if I didn't have that gauge, if I didn't have that measurement, I wouldn't have put air in my tire and I would have ended up with a flat tire.
So it's important to evaluate what you're doing every day. Just like your car automatically does that for you. And so, you know what, the cars are so technically savvy, we take it for granted. We're counting on the car to do what it's set to do. But guess what? Guess what, gentlemen? You have to be like that car. You got to become so adamant and so with mind, your focus is so intent that I'm going to examine my walk every day to make sure my walk lines up with my talk.
From the smallest thing to the biggest thing. The big things are the obvious things, but the little thing like that small leak of tire pressure can really take you off course really fast. And that's why it's so important when we think about evaluating every single day.
And the last thing is what, babe?
Adjust your course. So after you've evaluated, it's like, okay, if you're starting to get off course, don't keep plowing your way down that way. Say, oh, you know what? I got to put air in that tire. I got to make this adjustment so that I stay on the course that I want to continue on.
In other words, don't wait till it's flat. Don't wait when something breaks in your house. Now, you know what? I've been home now for a little while, but I've learned being a homeowner, I don't want to wait anymore. If I see something wrong or something cracked or something broken or is not functioning correctly, I don't want to wait till it's gotten worse before I fix it. Right? And I think a lot of times we procrastinate.
Oh, the sink's a little bit slow in draining. Yep. Right then's the time to fix it, not when, oh my gosh, it doesn't drain at all and the pipe broke underneath the sink. Figure out what the issue is right away and you will save yourself, once again, a ton of effort in realigning later or save yourself another visit back to prison.
That's right. So examine and analyze. You know, make that adjustment you need. And if you find somebody in your circle of influence who is still not wanting to walk with you according to what you think, because you know, I have a saying that I say quite often that just because you're my color doesn't make you my kind. In other words, if you don't think like me, you can't walk with me. So you really got to examine and analyze who you're with. You know, we say in prison, we said this, you know, weed out your garden. You know, make those adjustments in your life. If who you thought was on your side clearly is not, then you got to have that courageous conversation and make the adjustment. Make the adjustment to be the man you know you can be.
So stay tuned, and when we come back, we're going to wrap it all up for you so that you know exactly what it is you have to do. We will be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we're talking about how to not get stuck in old habits as you transition from inside the gates back into your community.
You know, it's important to be able to recognize those traps that are right in front of us. There's nothing new under the sun. We know what they are, but we so easily get caught up in something because we believe that we have the strength to overcome any type of temptation. You know, we have a saying that opportunity knocks on the door. How many times, fellas? Once. But temptation leans on the doorbell. So always remember that, you know. It takes a strong man to walk away, right? It takes a weak man to give in. So the first thing you got to do is identify. Identify what? The traps in your life. You know what they are, be real about it, and call it for what it is. Identify.
And the next thing you have to do is make a plan. Make a plan to avoid those traps. Because if you don't have a plan, then you've planned to fail.
Third thing is to connect. Connect with people who really love you, who you can handle the truth from, because that's what you want. You want to be held accountable for what you're creating. So connect with the people in your life that will help you become stronger.
And that might be a hard thing. What you're doing is you're moving from a place of being influenced by peer pressure to moving to a place of being accountable. Now, accountability is something you're choosing to do in order to become better. Take that step and you are well on your way.
Number 4 is evaluate. Evaluate what you're doing. You know, a lot of times in life, we just keep moving and keep pressing forward, and we never stop to evaluate, hey, is this what I want to do? Is this really what I want to look like?
Until we run into a brick wall and we found ourselves in a terrible place and we're like, oh my gosh, how the heck did I get here? And if you implement and start practicing evaluation every single day, right before you go to bed, think about, okay, what did I do today? Did I make the right decisions? Did I make the wrong decisions? What are things I could do better tomorrow? You will find that it'll be much easier to stay on your path towards success.
And the last one, number 5, is adjust. Because after you analyze if this is what you want to do, right? And if it's not, you figure it out, you know what, I should have did this better. Adjust something, tweak your progress, tweak your path.
So if you find that what you're doing isn't getting you where you want to go, that adjustment is really huge. And the truth is there's no such thing as perfect. We all live our lives that way. And those people that are successful are the ones that are constantly going through this cycle of self-improvement to make sure that the path they're on is going to get them where they want to go.
You know, when you leave the penitentiary and you hit the streets and you come back into society, you know, that's a big playground. But always remember, real men don't play in playgrounds, we build them.
So we want to thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey towards self-improvement. And so until next time, always remember that
we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.